I think the key words that I've come away with from speaking with you and reading Steve Hassan and Joe, talking with Joe Zimhart and others on this line have been care, compassion, and understanding. Those are the fundamentals that will get you across to anyone, in almost any circumstance. Is if they get that from you, that speaks much, much more than if you know the specifics of the Thetans or the space aliens or the OT3 stuff or any of that. That stuff is incidental to care, compassion, and understanding.
Even also I think it's a good point. I mean, if you're sitting with someone who you love and you notice that they look tired, or you notice that they have a scrape that's not been attended to because they haven't had time, you want to remark about that. Oh, honey, are you doing okay? You look exhausted. Can I get you something? Do you need a Band-Aid? I might have something here in my wallet, in my purse. Just show that you care enough about them to be able to have that level of awareness and noticing them, really noticing them. And that you want to be able to respond to them because they're being surrounded by people who are really not noticing those things. In fact, that's a weakness, and you're not supposed to spend time really tending to yourself and having other people around you tend to you. But it feels really good when someone notices those things and cares enough to say something. And you don't say it in a critical way where you say, well, it looks like they're clearly not letting you sleep enough, and they're not taking care of you, and look at that, and how long have you had that before? Just, what can I do? What can I do to help?
Or just the observation.
Or
wow, you look tired. And then shut up. Let them talk.
Yeah.
Let's see what the reaction is to that. If they get all defensive or whatever, you just go, dude, sorry. You look tired. I'm sorry. You do. That's it.
Exactly.
I'm not blaming this on anything. I'm simply saying I care. You know what I mean? It's that sort of just innocent. I'm sorry. You look tired. I'm sorry that I'm noticing that.
Right, exactly.
Sort of thing. So you don't. So there's no, argumentation there. You know what I mean?
Right. The other part is that you don't want to come across like you're doubting what they're saying, that they're somehow lying to you. Now, it could be that they are, and it could be that this is how they really feel right now, or they think they feel, or that they really haven't had a bad experience yet. It could be that they've said yes to everything, and they've been gung-ho, and they've done everything they were asked of, and they haven't questioned anything, and so their experience has been good. And if you say, really? Then that's going to be the end of that.
Again, it's an instant shutdown when you do stuff like that.
Yeah, because you will have known from accessing the information you need to access before you have that conversation that there's plenty that happens that's bad in that group. But maybe so far they haven't experienced it. And so that's okay. And you can be really happy for them. And at the same time, at the same time, you want to ask them certain questions and these are the things that help them think, and you're not coming across as being critical. You're really, again, wondering out loud, but really you know the information. Well, I'm glad that your experience has been a good one because I care about you and I love you and I want to make sure that you're really enjoying yourself. And I'm also wondering what happens if you're taught something that you're not quite sure that you agree with. Has that happened? Or have you noticed that with anyone else? Has anyone questioned what's being taught and what they're supposed to do? And how does that go? Also, has anyone left the group? Because it might be hard that you feel you're getting close to people within that community and then someone leaves. I don't know, what's that like for you? And also, what's that like for them? Or, how are they talked about after they leave? You know that they are criticized. You know that they're defamed. You know that they are cut off from.
And you'll probably get very thought-stopping sort of responses to some of these questions, too. Be ready for that. You might not get real, honest, thoughtful answers. Oh, yeah, people leave Scientology. They're just jerks, Yeah, they just do bad things. Oh, yeah, critics are always people who they have overts. These kind of things. These words start coming out that are just, they don't have to think anymore about that.
Right.
So that could come up in response to that, and so you just go, okay, and you just maybe, oh, could you explain that a little bit more? I mean, maybe a wonderful question might be, he's a critic of the church now. Oh, he has ovaries. Well, first off, what does that mean? Could you explain that to me?
Right.
Oh, yeah, well, he's just done bad things. And oh, well, what bad things did he do? I just gently find out what the person actually knows, because the whole point of thought stopping is they've stopped thinking. So if you gently get them talking about those thought stopping things, they'll probably realize they'll stop being able to answer the question, because they won't have answers to those questions, because they've been trained to stop thinking.
Right. So sometimes what I have talked to people about when they've been open to coming to talk to me, because a loved one says, would you mind just meeting with Rachel and talking to her about what your experience has been like, and helping us all as a family or as a couple or whatever talk about this. I'm happy to share with them what I've learned and what I know, but I also will say very honestly, your experience might be different. And I might not know what your experience is like, and I might not know what's going to happen to you within that group. And I really want to hear from you. And I hope your experience has been different, because I've heard some pretty bad stuff. And I invite them to teach me. And I invite them also to try to convince me. And I'm open to being convinced, because I don't know everything. I'm not there all the time. And also some cults just operate in one place, but there are other cults that have different locations, different orgs, different churches, different ashrams, different
political meetups. I mean, we're not talking about just religious groups here.
Right.
We're talking about any mind control, high control, mass movement situation. Yeah. Everything we're talking about here could apply to an extremist group having to do with gay rights. There's nothing wrong with gay rights, but you can have extremists, right? Any group can become one of these kind of activities. Yes. A Republican group, a Democratic group, any group can become an extremist type activity or a high control group, depending on the leader and how the leader is dealing with the followers. Right. So this is not just religious organizations that we're talking about.
Right, exactly. Good point. There are also people who are these sub-leaders, some of whom are nice and some who are not, some who really love the power that they have over people. And then people in those locations are going to have a much more abusive experience there. And so they're going to need actually more assistance to try to get out. They're actually going to usually be afraid for their safety, afraid for their lives at times, but afraid of leaving.